One of the most powerful weather events to reach the U.S. mainland in recent years, the National Hurricane Center says the tropical storm is still expected to bring strong winds and heavy rains as it exits Florida, in addition to the states of Georgia and the Carolinas, as it now tracks northwards. It arrived on Florida's west coast as a Category 4, packing sustained winds of 240 kilometers per hour, flattening much in its path and leaving a scene of destruction in its wake, including downed trees and power lines. In Florida, reports of catastrophic flooding and storm surge, with President Joe Biden declaring a major disaster for the state, which immediately frees up additional federal funding.
This administration is ready to help the people of Florida in every way possible. And when the storm passes, we will be there to help Florida rebuild and recover. We are committed to seeing this through. We have more than 1,300 federal response workers on the ground in Florida. There are 3.7 million meals and 3.5 million liters of water pre-positioned in Alabama. 110,000 gallons of fuel and 18,000 pounds of propane are pre-staged for immediate deployment. 300 Army Corps personnel are on the ground to support power and fuel assessments. 300 ambulances are supporting local officials. And multiple federal disaster medical assistance teams are deployed to Florida and Georgia.
Large swaths of the state remain without power, affecting millions, with reports of people stuck in homes, damage to roads and building infrastructure widespread, with emergency services urging people to stay in their homes as rescue and recovery operations proceed.
Overwhelmingly, it's been that surge that has been the biggest issue, and the flooding that has resulted as a result of that. In some areas, we think it's hit 12 feet. Now, it is our meteorologists' view that the storm surge has likely peaked and will likely, be less in the coming hours than it has been up to this point. But we know that this has been a big storm, and it's done a lot of damage as it is.
This satellite image shows a storm packed with lightning as it tracked through the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico before slamming into Florida's west coast after leaving the entire island nation of Cuba without power. This hurricane hunter flew into the eye of the storm just before it made landfall.
Things that concern us is we've seen this a lot over the last few years, where these storms build up, they get to a really high intensity, really close to land, and then they make landfall and cause a bunch of devastation. People lose houses, people lose homes, lives are lost, and the better that we can go and forecast these storms in the future, the less that's going to happen. And that's really our goal. That's why we go fly these missions.
Ian now expected to track northwards through Georgia and the Carolinas. Strong winds and heavy rain continue to be the main threats, with the National Hurricane Center warning of considerable flash and urban flooding in southeastern Georgia and South Carolina, while tornadoes are an additional concern.